Welcome back, everyone, to BBB Sharing. I'm Evie, Director of Ignite, sparked by BBB. And today I have Barry Moore, our CEO and President of the Better Business Bureau. But I also have two other very special guests. I have Jim and Bill from c.g.i today. Guys, go ahead and introduce yourselves and let me know what you think of Richmond. Jim, you're a little bit more familiar with Richmond.
I am. 2017, we opened an office here in the BB&T Towers. I think we were in the West Tower, 15th floor. I immediately fell in love with Richmond. Mm-hmm. I came here every week for 2 years. I lived here. I told my wife when I got back, I said, if we didn't have kids that were involved in sports in school, I would move here tomorrow. When they had spring break, I brought my whole family down here. I can't rave enough about the food culture and the restaurants here. I'm excited to take Bill to a couple of my favorites this week.
You're getting Bill around to a few of them?
Yeah, we want to go to Cuba tonight.
Cuba's good, yeah.
Very, very impressed so far. So I live in upstate New York, Finger Lakes area, which is it's a beautiful, beautiful area. I've lived in Nashville, and I said today when Jim and I were walking in here, there's just something different about the air. Just smells fresh and beautiful, beautiful city. I'm looking forward to seeing more of it the next few days.
We had a great
Barry, what do you think of Richmond?
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I came back here now 3 times. So I've been from New Jersey to here to Nashville back and then to Pittsburgh back. So obviously this is where I'm going to be. But today has been an incredible day. A lot of energy at the BBB office. We had 16 or 20 ABs in the office, and c.g.i presented some incredible differentiating information and tools that we offer our ABs to make them stand on the side or above everybody else and differentiate their home building or their funeral home or their investment company. So if you guys would talk, did you learn anything, Evie, that you would?
I learned a lot today. Yeah. Actually, I learned and saw a lot of things that I thought were really interesting, and it would be bad on the accredited businesses part if they didn't take advantage of what you guys had to offer. But for those that are, for the sake of the people that don't know and that are listening to the podcast, give us what's Seesaw. I'll start with Seesaw. Go ahead and tell me what that is.
Yeah, so Seesaw is it's a video content delivery system, right? So much like in the world we live in now, where everybody is on their phone, they have 5G in their pockets. We're always constantly, and really since COVID, it became really, really noticeable that everybody is on their phone scrolling through short form video content everywhere. TikToks, Instagrams, it's the way social behavior is. And what we realized is that from the business side, business websites are still the same as they've been for the past 20 years. And it's a rotating brochure of text and images. So we had I'll say the foresight to realize that there's a way to marry social behavior with business websites, and that was Seesaw. And once you see it, you can't unsee it, is how we came to that name. And what it really does is it allows people to consume the information that they're looking for in short form video content, 15 to 30 second video clips versus a 3 or 4 minute video or reading through a website.
Yep. I have to agree with that. I'm a reader, I'm not going to lie, but my dad is not. My mom barely without her reading glasses anymore. Can't be bothered. Doesn't want to admit that she's blind now. My brother doesn't read. My sister, maybe a little bit. I will say 15, 20, 30 seconds. That's it. That's as long as their attention span will last. And it's true. I'm guilty of it too. I scroll through YouTube Shorts. I can't be bothered to watch a YouTube video all the way through anymore.
Right.
I always have YouTube Shorts pulled up.
Imagine, talk about a diner. Let's talk about a diner because that's Evie's background. Greek diner, family business. Imagine Seesaw. What would it look like? What would their website look like when the people are sitting right there at their table.
Melting cheese from a burger.
Right.
I thought I was thinking about it during your presentation.
What could you see,
I love
Jim?
doing restaurant videos. I
Oh my
love 'em.
God, I didn't think of that.
And I'll tell you, it's like if you ever watched on television like diners, drive-ins, and dives,
Yeah.
right? You could look at photos of food. You can look at a write-up of how delicious something is. But when you ever watch that Man versus Food or Diners, Drive-ins, and Dive-In, they're in a restaurant of a town that people have been there from generation after generation, and you're watching this in your house and you're seeing the food and you're seeing the cheese melting while that person's eating and then describing it. You're sitting at home in another state and you're like, I got to get down there. I got to eat that.
Yeah.
Gotta have it.
I want to get down there tomorrow and eat that thing. And I've actually done that. I have, like when I went to Charlotte, I'm like, I got to go to this fish taco place I saw on Diners, Drive-In, Dive. When I was in Austin, I'm like, I got to eat that burrito. He couldn't finish that thing. I could eat 2 of them. I'm going to go there as soon as we get there.
And I think the beauty of that too, right, is that he takes you into the kitchen. So you learn the why. You learn the about us. What brought them to wherever got them to that point,
Yep.
right? And then at the end, it's the diners and the guests who are raving about why they love it. So that's the
Testimonials.
client testimonials. But if somebody wrote in a review or if they just put up at the end of it, Sam Smith from wherever he's from had a great meal, loved the melted cheese, not the same effect. But
Nope.
seeing that and feeling that engagement is what makes that show
Amazing.
such a craving.
So
Yeah, it really is a craving. I'm not going to lie.
imagine Seesaw with the Galley Diner up in Harrisonburg or the Brick House Diner here in Midlothian. Imagine, instead of having a cake case, I could highlight each dessert. Here's the baklava. Here's the kadife, whatever
yeah.
you say. Yeah, I'm not Greek, but I don't say it well.
Kataifi.
Yeah. So imagine that. And you have a guy my size or your size, and it shows that, and we're just doing videos. And that's what Seesaw is. It's
exactly.
real time. I could be sitting right there on my phone, and the waitress still comes over, still gives me first class service, but says, why don't you take a look at our website?
Yeah.
Now you have a new fan on the website also. So I would like to know a little bit more, because we're going to share this with ABs. What other products are we offering? You guys take over for us. People come accredited. Your team takes over. We give you permission to go into our site. We're not selling information. You're professional. But what are they going to offer the new accredited businesses?
So I'll say this. I've been doing this for 26 years,
Yep.
right? And I know it doesn't matter the business you're in, how long you've been in business, the industry, any of the products or whatever you're doing. If you are in business today, you have to have a website and you have to have control over your digital footprint. You have to. If you say, I don't want a website, it doesn't matter, because your information is out there and you have zero control over it.
Good point.
So you should know this, and you should know how to control all of it. And most importantly, to have a strategy, not to wing it, not to have a website because someone told you, but to have a true digital media strategy. And that is what we help businesses with. And we're going to guide them and help them with, if they're starting out brand new, you need to work on these things first. You could have the best website in the world. If no one can find it, it's useless. It's like having a billboard in the rainforest. No one can see it. It means nothing, no matter how fancy. It's the same thing with this. You have to be, if you're in business today, we live in a world where you need something, you Google it. And if you're not showing up when people are looking for you, that is a problem. And if you are showing up, but you're showing up with the wrong information, you got to be there with the right information that's going to make people choose you. And when they choose you, you have to be able to deliver your message in the way they want to receive it, with a call to action.
So you guys will build websites for our ABs, and it's not like Uncle Buddy built it in the garage. It's going to look good. You're going to help me get some SEO ideas in order to get rated or ranked, right?
Yeah.
And we want to be visible. You just said that. So that's something we offer to our ABs through c.g.i, and they will call the new AB 30 to 60 days out and say, they look at the website and say, hey, Barry, would you like to look at our new website for you? And you can employ you. What else? What about the top of, like when they go on a consumer goes to bbb.org and I'm an electrician to get the top rating
Tiers,
or the
yeah. The
tier.
tiers, yeah.
The tiers.
Talk about that a little bit if you guys can.
So these are things we go over with all of our clients about. There are certain spaces you have to be in, and you have to understand how the end user and how the consumer does things. And one of the things we talk about all the time is people go to Google to shop, they go to the BBB to buy. They've done their stuff, and now they're going to make a decision. So there's several opportunities they're called tier listings. And how do you stand out from the others that are also accredited that do the same stuff you do? How do you stand out above the businesses you're competing with? Step one is being an accredited business is very, very important. But when there's several in your industry that are also accredited, you have to be able to stand out. And the key is if you're in front of them when they need you. One of the I don't believe in advertising, right, that I grew up with. I'm 53, and the advertising that I grew up with, it will never, ever work again. The one form of advertising that I am convinced works, and it works well because it legit gets me as a consumer, it gets me 85% of the time. If you've ever bought something on Amazon and you go there to buy whatever it is, a pair of socks, running shoes, a gift for your mother because Mother's Day, and she mentioned this is what got me, was I'm going to buy this thing for my mother. I go in there. I knew she wanted it. She told me and my sister how much she needs this and now that. So I go on. I'm going to get this for my mother. And I buy it and I check out. And now I have Prime, so it has all my information. I don't have to type anything. I pick the item. And here's the thing that works. Those that bought this were also in the list like 8 items. And then I go, that goes with that? Right. I didn't even know that was a thing. She's going to love that more than that because it goes with that. And I don't think she knows what it is. And I add it to the cart. Because it is there when I need it. And that's critical. You have to be there at the time of need. And it's so important. Those are all things that we help you with.
And you know, you guys have been very gracious, and we're at about 12 minutes, so we'll be wrapping it up with Evie right now. But the one thing you guys have been gracious about, you're offering to our BBB, our Central Virginia office, this is not across the country, you guys are offering 30 days. You become accredited. If you were accredited, you come back to being accredited, or your 1 year or 2 year anniversary is coming up. You guys are gracious. If you're giving them 30 days of that tier marketing in their zip code and in their TOB type of business, that is a huge. So you are putting your money where your mouth is. Yeah. You're saying, hey, you guys are accredited, and you know what? I'm Jim and Bill. I want Barry and Evie's clients to have this for 30 days to get a free test drive. Being a car guy, it was the most genius thing General Motors ever did, free test drives. We hated it because we had a lot of paperwork to do. But, it got people behind the wheel. It got people in the office. And we learned, it's like you said today at the seminar, things are changing. You're like an old car guy. Yeah. I would never let you drive a car for free unless you paid me. And now we're putting cars out for 24 hours. Think about that. But it sold. It changed everything, the dynamic. And now we're where we are. So a test drive is a great thing. I always use that analogy. But Evie, I'm dominating here. Go ahead. You take it from here.
You want me to close out?
No, or ask me another question. You got 13 minutes.
So
I think Bill's a professional at this. Yeah. He's been very nice. Let's hardball questions for Jim. Yeah. Nice Southern. Be nice, Evie.
Be nice.
To Bill. Yeah, because he's just been gentle all the way through. And not that Jim's been bad, but boy,
we balance
he's
each other. We balance each
other. It's called seesaw.
I'm a loudmouth.
Yeah,
I'm a loudmouth. I don't stop talking. And
Abbott
Billy
and Costello,
I'm just like
Jay and
you.
Silent Bob.
I'm just like
Hardy.
Jim.
I need Bill to
and
balance
Evie and
me.
Bill. Evie and Bill. Yeah,
I do tend to be the quiet one. I sit down, I listen to Barry, and then I start to zone out, and I'm like, where's he going with this?
Nice.
That's what he does to me.
But Bill.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think? You got to talk to some of the accredited businesses today. What are some of the concerns that they had, maybe making a final decision to do this?
Concerns as far as from their perspective?
From their perspective, wanting to make the final commitment.
I think, we used the analogy or the example earlier today for those that would remember the movie Animal House, and just the mentality of always doing what you've been done because it was the only thing available.
Yep.
And change is always difficult. And if your expertise is in landscaping or moving, or this has always been something that you were told you had to have, and it was for marketing or advertising purposes, and that's not your expertise. So you just do it. And it's being able, as Jim said earlier, to allow yourself to flip that switch and look at this from an emotional side, from how we all live our day-to-day lives. And that is about meeting one another, learning from one another, listening to one another. And so I think for them, it's just, we say to everybody that we meet, and I hope it holds true for you guys when we did this today, that we are going to show you something you've never seen before and then explain it in a way that you've never heard before. And I stand behind that 110% because this is so different, but in a way, something we're doing today anyways.
Yep.
Just have to apply it to the business side of your life. And you don't know what you don't know. And hopefully today this really opened some eyes. And in watching the room, I felt like it did. And it was great to see because we just wanted the opportunity to share a new way of looking at things.
Yep. I asked that question for two reasons. One, because coming from a business owner's perspective, I grew up in businesses with my parents and my siblings. And also, you said something very interesting when you were talking to the team. You said the person that's going to understand it and feel that angst the most is going to be the business owner themselves. And I couldn't agree more because a year ago when my parents were renovating their diner, one of the things that my sister and I could not stress enough with my dad is you've got to get rid of that dinosaur website that you have. Because the first thing people are going to do is they're going to go to your website. They're going to want to order online. After COVID, everybody wants to order online. We live in Harrisonburg, Virginia. It's the biggest college town around in Virginia. Of course, people are going to want to do DoorDash, Uber Eats. Come on. And he never understood it until we sat him down and we were like, this is what we're talking about. This is what it means to be engaged with your new audience. Goodbye to the locals that were leaving 50-cent tips. We still love them. We still love them. But it's time to make a new generational shift. Mm-hmm. So I completely understand.
Yeah, I always say for restaurants, right? Here's something that people can't wrap their mind around. You used to have to go in and sit down and open a menu. Mm-hmm. I could stand out in front of your parents' thing and look at it on my phone before I decide to come in.
Yep.
And I would be in front of your restaurant looking at stuff, and if I don't see something to make me grab that handle and come in, I'm keeping walking down the street to the next place. This happens constantly, all the time. And I'm not the only one doing it. I'm an old man. My kids, they don't like to talk to anybody. Everything is done differently than we do. They have the TikTok generation. They're the Snap. They don't talk on the telephone. They all have the state-of-the-art iPhones. The least used app on their phone is the phone. They video call everyone. They can't even imagine. They go, I need a dentist appointment. I go, call them up. Huh? Can you do it? I go, just call them and tell them you need an appointment. They're going to do it. But they're 21, 19, 20. This is what they do.
Yep.
It's a different world.
It is different. All right. Barry says time's up. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you
so
for
much
coming
for
to talk.
having us.
Of course. Thank you for coming to talk to all of our
Thank you.
accredited businesses here in the area and for coming to Richmond. We had a great time. Barry, thanks for keeping the show going. Well, everyone, make sure to listen to BBB Sharing Make sure to subscribe and like on YouTube, BBB Central Virginia, and follow us on Spotify, BBB Sharing. Thank you.